Hi, everybody. It's Alex Jarett again with another Spotlight interview, and I'm really happy to introduce you to my good friend Mark Otten. Hi, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm really excited to talk to you. This is what we call our Spotlight interview, unlike some of the other ones that go on for maybe too long. This is like 5 or 6 minutes, and we love doing them because they're a lot of fun. Just kind of introduce you to the overall technology and business community. And you're right now, you're in charge of all of IT for a company called Anson Industries, right?
That's correct, Alex. So I'm the Executive Director of Information Technology, so CIO of a multi location construction company
And so
called
you guys,
Anson Industries.
as- I always, who doesn't love construction sites? I mean, so you make the big build. What do you guys make real quick? Like, what are the big things that you guys do?
So a great one is for first of all, it's primarily commercial industrial. So we
Okay.
don't do any residential stuff. So it's all
Yeah.
big buildings, it's sports stadiums. We're doing
Oh,
a ton of
wow.
data centers. So bringing it back to the technology theme, we've done a lot of work with major marquee cloud companies and a lot of data center work. And one of the ones that we did toward the end of last year was the new Formula One building that
Oh,
they have in Las Vegas for the Las Vegas race that they call the Paddock.
yeah.
And our guys brought in a whole bunch of new materials, a whole bunch of new concepts, and helped build out that building. It's
And
1,000 feet long.
are you, I mean, I know we were kind of before this interview. This is so cool, some of this stuff, because I can just visualize, like if you're in a stadium, I know maybe I talked to you. I talked to somebody a few years ago about these stadiums, how the technology is really in it, the whole broadcast experience, and plus the experience of what they're doing with the fans, right? It's
Right.
changing, right? Are you all part of that too? You're helping them with some of that stuff too, because that's really super cool.
We do a lot of rehab work too,
Uh-huh.
right? So a company will come in and want to put in new suites at a sports stadium. A company will lease a couple floors of an office tower in the downtown, whether that's Chicago or
Yeah.
Atlanta or wherever. And our guys will go in and they'll do a lot of the walls. They'll do a lot of the walls, the ceilings, a lot of the interior work. So that's a lot of our bread and butter is that kind of work. And so we reconfigure workspaces, we reconfigure lab spaces for hospitals, for biotech firms. So it's really a lot about helping to transform the workplace, factories, etc., to be most optimal. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun to go watch.
And a lot of people don't realize that as the CIO, I mean, clearly you're doing the operational systems and you're doing the CISO stuff, and that's part of your profile. I'm looking at your profile here, but you also are actually pretty active in the construction area too. We were kind of talking about manufacturing 4.0, and you said you wanted to make sure and highlighted some of that. I call it construction 4.0, but you're actually doing this, you're actually involved in that, right?
Well, I'm going to get Alex. I'm going to give you credit. So anybody with an earshot, Alex gets credit for coming up with Construction 4.0, and it's really a play on
Yeah.
the Factory 4.0 concepts from maybe the past decade, and more broadly Industry 4.0, where you're bringing the integration of intelligent technologies like AI, like robotics, other kinds of automation into the construction field. And that includes building automation management, which is creating
Oh,
3D models of the construction build before anybody picks up any kind of tools, right? And robotic process automation for the office, being able to scan an invoice, for example, and have it go through the entire matching process and get 80% of those transactions without a human being having to sit there and do it.
yeah.
So it's a whole suite of ideas of how to bring some of the automation principles that we brought to industry more broadly and manufacturing in particular into construction.
That's so cool. I mean, when you think of this advanced technology and AI, everybody always thinks about that. I think the customer experience first, we're already talking to it. But the fact that, and also I was talking to somebody else in manufacturing the other day, and they were talking about what the floors are looking like now, the manufacturing floors, how different they are. But to think of the construction site, how much of that can be made safer for these people that are out there. And
Yeah.
also, I mean, it's just so many applications, especially when you think of that, the Internet of Things.
IoT, yeah,
Yeah, it's IoT where the transaction, whatever we're doing, is right
correct.
there. What about things like I see it in supply chain, things like digital twins. Are you doing anything like that in construction also?
Yeah, so building information management, which I mentioned before, they
Yeah,
call it BIM is
yeah.
the term, right? Digital twin is a part of that where you can literally create a 3D model
Oh,
that
that's so cool.
shows all of the ins and outs of that building as a, before anybody picks up anybody goes in there to do any actual work. Let me make this up, give you a practical example. So when you go out to a construction site, you're going to get
Yeah,
a whole bunch of different tradesmen. You're going to be getting guys doing HVAC,
yeah,
ladies doing
yeah,
electrical, our people doing the
yeah.
the carpentry and the drywalling, right? And they're all on top of each other, so they have meetings frequently to address who's going to work here first, second, third, right? And plans are changing. How do you get those plans to the foreman so he can show the changes to the people actually doing the trades work so that everybody's working harmoniously to the right schedule, right? That's where technology can come to play. How do you keep track of people's hours, who had overtime, right? Who make sure everybody took their lunch break on time, make sure everybody's working to, as you mentioned earlier, right? Working safely and signing off on safety
Yeah.
forms or signing off on different things like that. Again, that's all technology and putting that in the hands of people so they can get the information they need without having to click 5 or 6 times or go find a document in some repository folders deep, right?
That is
How
so
can you
cool. That is so cool. Well, the fact that you're working on the back end stuff, the normal CISO, CIO stuff, but also the operational, like, the part of the construction, man, that's really cool. I know you wanted to actually just make a brief comment about your concepts of leadership and people. We only got a minute here, so just give us your sort of 2 cents on how you view leadership and people as it relates to doing this kind of role.
Oh, Alex, that's a great point. I think we don't want to get lost in the technology. I think the idea is that IT is still a people business,
Yeah,
right? We're looking after stakeholders, we're looking after our teams, our IT professionals, and we're making sure that the executive team is tied into what we're doing, and even our end customers, right? Because at the end of the day, we're a service business, and we're making sure that through technology, right, we can get all that stuff done. But at the end of the day, it's still about people and making sure people are taken care of.
that's great. I got to tell you, I've interviewed a number of executives, and all the great leaders, technology leaders I interview, they always talk about people. They always talk about people, and you just did it. I mean, I didn't prompt you on this. You actually did it when we were getting ready for this. So I appreciate that you did that because that tells me you're one of the greats. And it is really about people. I was joking around with somebody else this morning, and I said to her, if I asked you about AI, you'd probably talk to me about people, wouldn't you? She's like, yeah. It's like, yeah. Well, Mark, it's been great talking to you. This is a spotlight interview, so it is short, unlike our other interviews. I hope that there's an invitation for you to be more involved and do more of these interviews. Did a great job. And thanks for joining us today. And everybody, it's Mark Otten. And Mark, thank you so much for doing this spotlight interview.
Alex, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.